Okay, sorry, I had a little pop-up. I myself am an esthetician, and what I've learned is that not all one brand can give you every single thing at a perfection level, unless you are like us, who brings on people like Jackie, who are really well in their trade and can share all of those things. So we hope that we are basically a vehicle to get you the best possible education. And so today we're going to wax like pros. A little bit about our brand and a really quick backstory. So Enso was literally started in a closet when I started my podcast back in 2020. This podcast was really all about connection. I was and am in Tampa, Florida, and I really didn't have a lot of esthetician friends, and it was something that I craved a lot of. One thing is that there was nobody in my friend group that was an esthetician, and nobody that really understood really the back end of what we do as a business, as a living. Not a lot of people take kindness to me telling them that I literally wax vaginas. And so I wanted to have this camaraderie with people just like you. So I started a podcast in 2020 that quickly grew to becoming a resource for me to learn more about our industry with industry leaders like Jackie that you see today. And what it became really apparent of is that all of us have one thing in common. We work really, really hard to make our treatment room look amazing. We put so much work into it. It's all we think about. It's all we care about is that and our clients. And I thought to myself, why couldn't I find a brand that gave that same sense of elevation and that same sense of like thoughtfulness to products? And as I continued to interview people and continued to find that gap in the market was so apparent, I ended up creating Enso myself. And so all of the brand's products that we do always lead with one thing: really thoughtfully created products that are really high quality for you, the esthetician. So we now have multiple formulations. We are working on a wax warmer that has been created from the hands of us, and we're so excited to keep bringing that into the community. And I'm so excited you guys are here to witness us from the very, very start. We're still a small brand. I always like to mention this because I always want to let you guys know that we are a brand with a plan. Okay. So one thing that we do here is we try to give back as much as we can. Even though we are such a small brand, we try to make small impacts until we can make big impacts. So we wanted to share with you some people who we have donated to since we have started, or if we haven't donated them to them yet, they're people that we have on the list as we continue and keep growing the brand. Look and Feel Fab is an organization that actually was created by an esthetician herself who went through a skin disease while she was in esthetician school. She realized that nobody really knew how to take care of skin, especially skin with people that were going through chemotherapy and so forth. And so she decided to start the nonprofit herself. You can find this all on Instagram. But basically, this is a nonprofit that gives safe products for those that are either in chemotherapy or post-chemotherapy. And so we have donated to them. Beauty Changes Lives. This is a scholarship program for people wanting to enter the beauty industry that don't have the resources to do so. Project Beauty Share, similarly to the last one. And then Spectrum Design, which is a personal thing for me. It is a company that hires 70% of people on the spectrum. And so I do this every time. I always get really emotional about this brand, but I very much appreciate what they're doing. And yeah, I'll stop there because I don't know what's come over me. Okay, and then this month, we are going to be donating to an LGBTQ foundation. We will be donating a percentage of our merch to the Happy Hippie Foundation based out of California. And then we will also be donating to them when we are at the IEC SC show. So in-person and online sales will go towards that foundation as well. I do that every time. I need to like take it out. Okay. And then sustainability. So the truth is, when you create a brand, when you create a business, there's no such thing as being sustainable anymore, because to be sustainable would mean not starting the business at all, right? But what we can do is we can decide how we treat our products internally and how we can make a bigger impact for the long run. And so what we did was created these bulk bags that you guys see here, which is really cool, an elevated experience for you, the esthetician, to get these bulk bags if you order big volumes from us. And what we have done is decided to do a buyback program. So basically, once you collect 10 of these bags, you can send them back our way, in which we will give you 500 points on your account, which will save you money on future purchases. So we want to continue to kind of keep this narrative alive as we continue to figure out new ways to be as sustainable as we can with a brand who, started a brand. So that's our sustainability. And then just to give you an overview, so today, again, we're going to talk about the brand, which we did, the introduction, which just giving you a little bit about who's sponsoring this class itself. And then our demo with Jackie. She'll be going over troubleshooting, answering questions for you. And then I do want to say to make sure you stay until the end, because we actually have a really fun surprise we haven't told anyone until we get to that last slide. So stay if you can. And then we also will be selecting 3 people during this webinar to win 3 different prizes. Of course, we had to make it fun while we're learning. And so we have merch, we have product, and then we have one of Jackie's favorite tools that she uses during a lamination that she will share of as well. And so how you win the giveaway is super easy. Just stay committed to the chat, make it really fun. And Stacy, which is our assistant here for Enso, will go through and pick 3 winners today. Sounds good? And then just a couple ways that you can get into the Enso circle. We are one huge funnel with many ways to talk to us. And so just giving you a little look at some of the places that we are at. So you can always find us at ensowax.com. Enso Wax on all social medias. We are on Discord, which is our private channel. We have over 100 people in there, so we're really proud of that group. Stacy's actually going to, if you have it, Stacy, drop the link. If not, it's no big deal, because I don't know if I gave it to you, and I can certainly drop it as well. You can always message us. We are at ensowax.com. And then we have the SD On Call blog, where we feature an esthetician a month within the circle. People always ask how they become an SD On Call blog member. And we always say, just show up, tag us, have conversations with us. That's how every single person has been on. It's really just been us being like, we really like what this person stands for. Let's pull this person up. And then the Waxing Podcast, our latest season just started a couple of months ago, or last month, I should say, in June. And that's a really great way for you to receive bite-sized information. It's a non-biased podcast, meaning I try not to bring up Enso as much as possible. It's really just information for you, the esthetician, and another tool that we can pass on, because at the end of the day, we're all here to learn. We're all here to be really good at our jobs. And, we're all trying to make the best of this amazing opportunity of being an esthetician. Without further ado, I'm done talking, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and draw Jackie into it. I'm going to go ahead and pen her. And then if you have any questions at all, let me go ahead and stop sharing really quick. Drop it in the chat, and I will make sure to keep a hold of it. And Jackie, I have a lot of questions already formed. So whenever you're ready to take questions, let me know. If there's questions in the chat, I'll go ahead and read them. If not, I have them on the side to give you.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready, like, whenever you can ask as it happens, but I want to make sure that, like, my camera is at a good angle. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but
we'll troubleshoot you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jackie. I have been doing brows for like 7-8 years now. I want to say I started doing like laminations around the time of COVID, basically just teaching myself and kind of like playing around with clients and talking to them, and seeing their experience and kind of like going off of that. So I am self-taught. I just wanted to throw that out there. A lot of these things that I've done is just things that I've like played around with my clients. And so I just wanted to say that it's like kind of fun to experiment and like get the clients involved. That's been one thing that I've noticed over the years of doing this that I feel like has made such a huge difference. Obviously, like no one's like trained fully on brow lamination. We kind of just like learn our own ways and our own techniques, and we all are doing things differently, but getting good results. So if there's anything you can take from this today, like it's just that, like try to keep it fun and exciting and get your clients involved. I don't know if, can I zoom in on this? Yes.
I think, what do you have, a glam core?
Yeah. Oh.
Just
Listen,
get real personal.
This is Taylor, and she knows what she's doing today. I just want to say, thank God, okay? She is savvy with the technology. I want to make sure you guys can see, like, obviously her eyebrows really well, but you let me know. Is this good, you think, this angle?
Let's get her a little, I think a little bit closer, just so people can really see how you are able to.
I just want to make sure that it doesn't lose, like, the quality of the video, you know? Yeah. You guys help me out here. I just don't want to.
Also, hi Taylor. Thank you for being a model.
Yeah.
You have a great brow.
Yeah. She's is this good? Is it sideways? Would you guys see it though?
Yeah.
We're good.
Yes.
Drop it in the chat. Do you guys like this view? I think a little bit closer to her.
Okay,
Does
fun.
the glam core that you can make it shorter? Do you have the glam core where you can like drop it down?
Yeah, I can make it shorter. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just make it shorter. I think that would be good. Oh, it says you have to use the back camera to zoom in.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can read all the
questions.
I wouldn't worry too much about yeah,
Wait,
try to switch it to the back camera, because I wouldn't worry about seeing anything. I can help you out with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me move it around. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. You guys, technology ain't my thing right now. How do I
Okay.
turn this around?
Here. You get it?
Are you guys laughing at me?
Did you do it?
Look, Taylor's gonna help me.
Usually a lot of people are laughing at you.
There. Taylor's helping me. Okay. Wait.
Okay. You're good.
Okay. This is my outfit of the day. Okay. Wait. Don't be mad at me.
Don't let it fall on my face.
I'm not gonna let it fall on your face. You open this.
I don't know how to work this thing.
God bless. Oh, hold on. We're gonna put it here. This is okay. You guys, okay. Now I can zoom.
Wait, is it sideways?
Oh,
Still?
well,
No, it's
that's way more clear. So that actually
Okay,
works
good.
better.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I would, if you could go like the littlest bit, you're good. Because that angle is perfect.
Okay, let me scoot her over a little bit. If I
Yeah,
keep her like this, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. I think
Yes?
this is perfect. But everyone
Okay.
drop it in if you guys feel good about this.
Yeah, let me know because I have to see from here before
Yeah,
I
drop
change it.
Okay, cool.
Everyone's good?
Yeah, we're good. I think this is perfect.
Okay, well you have to yell at me and tell me if
I will.
if I have to fix anything. Okay. So first I'm gonna start by just cleansing the skin. I try to have my clients come in with like little to no makeup if possible. Obviously it's not always like ideal, but I don't like to scrub before a lamination with like a spoolie. I know you guys sometimes see like people using a little soap and scrubbing. I just use like a regular cleanser and like a soft, gentle cotton and just remove the makeup like this. Simple. And then I always will go in with like a barrier cream. This is what I use. I don't know if you guys can see. Hold on. Wait. This is just what I use. It's like a huge tub. You can get it at Target and Amazon, but Vaseline, like anything like that, I just like to protect the skin. It makes the client feel good too. I've never had really any issues with the products that I use with like sensitivity. So I'll just throw that out there, but just as like an insurance, you know? But I'm going to take it a little bit on here and just put some in the middle and then on the top there. And just rub it in. This is mostly like for step one, which I feel like is a little bit more irritating to the skin if it's going to be. It just gives us like a little barrier in between. Okay. And then I use Tuya for all my laminations. I've tried other brands. They may smell better, but they just don't work the same. And honestly, I just can't stop using this one. So that's where we're at. I like to take I can't see if you guys can see what I'm doing, but yeah. Okay, so this is my ring dish here. I like to hold this while I'm doing the service, just because if I need it, it's right there. I put a decent amount of product in there, the step one. And then I'll take my brush here. The most important thing I feel like for lamination, especially with someone that has like thick or coarse hair, is just to make sure that we have enough product on the hair to start. So you want them all to just look wet, right? Wet. I'm rubbing it in there, and then I'm going to start my timer. I always have 2 timers going just so I'm not like stressed. It just takes the stress away. And we're not doing anything fancy. We're literally just rubbing this in the hair and making sure that it's all coated.
Jackie, do you set the timer when you put product on the first brow, or do you officially set the timer when you've saturated both, or when you put the film on?
So once I put the product on, I'll start the timer. I have 1 timer for each eyebrow. So when I put the other one on, I started it. And then when I just put majority of it on this one, I started it too. Honestly, I don't put too much pressure on that part, the timer, just because I don't really think it's like super important as far as like when you start it that way, but we're going to make sure this plastic is on like super tight. And then I'm going to grab a little towel. Okay, sorry. So for laminations, when I have a client that has thick or coarse eyebrows, I like to use this little pillow. This is like my secret weapon here. Okay, the company Love Mert, but I like it because you can place it over their eyebrows here, and they can still like open their eyes and talk if they wanted to. This is heated up in a towel warmer, just like a basic like esthetician towel warmer. You could also use a microwave if you have one, if you don't have a towel warmer. But I feel like the pressure of like the weighted mask plus a little bit of the heat just helps to like saturate all of the product into this kind of hair. I don't always use it for like if they have really thin or fine hair, just because I feel like it could speed up the process a little bit more to over process them. But this is like totally a game changer here. My clients all come like after work and they're like stressed or tired. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I feel like this is not only helpful to like the service, but it also gives it like an elevated like experience of like, I'm at the spa, right? Like, and I think that everyone should try with this towel. So they actually gave us a code for a discount for I think 30% off.
Yeah, we dropped it in the chat for everybody. So this is definitely like a Jackie secret. This is the only place I've ever learned about this. And I'm not kidding you. My clients are obsessed with this. And I promise this is also the difference between a client going to you and going somewhere else and not receiving this. It's just like a little extra, but added elevation to a service. And we're actually giving one away. So this is one of our giveaway items.
So what I do is once I put this on, I have both the timers going. But I'm going to leave this alone for 5 minutes. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let it soak. When I first started doing laminations, I think that's been the biggest difference in my quality of work is that 5-minute period of just letting it sit and saturate without touching it or messing around. And then so we have about like a minute and a half until I'm going to remove this to brush the hair out. And then I'll kind of see like
questions, Jackie, if you want to know.
Yeah.
Someone says, does the heat speed up the process?
I feel like it does, especially with hair that's like really stubborn. I don't want to say it speeds it up, but I think it just like helps to get that product like really soaked into those hairs really well. But
And then someone said, could you use it non-heated for brows that aren't
yes,
thick?
yes, for sure.
Okay. I use it with all brows though. I've had no issues with using this thing. As long as you check on the hair itself, I really do feel like the timing is irrelevant.
This isn't like super, super hot either, right? Like it's just like kind of like a warm, like, I don't know, if it's a nice temperature. It's not super hot.
Brandy said, is the timing still based on which brand you use? I'm going to say yes to that.
Yeah. So Tuya. I think that, so the time frame is between 10 and 15 minutes. Obviously, 10 minutes being like with the softer hair, more fine hair. But usually, like, and especially with this towel, I've never really gone over 10 minutes. Like, that's my general time with the processing is 10 minutes. So step one, and what I like about Tuya too is step one, whatever time you're using on step one, you're automatically going to copy for step two. And the other products that I've used, like if it's like you have to use like half the time, I don't know, it's always confusing to me, but for me, I like this because it's just the same time for each one. Okay, so that's been 5 minutes. I'm going to remove the towel and I'm going to lift the plastic. You guys can see okay? Yes? Hopefully?
Yes. Someone asked, do you
Okay.
remove the cover or can you wash it just as like a whole?
No,
I put alcohol on mine.
you can just spray it, yeah, with like a disinfectant spray, but honestly, it's like not really touching anything. So
Oh, and also they have like an essential oil base too. So like mine is like lavender.
okay, so I want you guys to see when I brush these hairs, I'm not brushing them straight up like this. Almost never. I never brush them like that. I'm always kind of going with like the natural flow of the hair, right? So like an up and over. And what I'm looking for is to see like how the hair is responding to me brushing it. Let me go over here. We want it to still have like life to it, without it being, sorry. So yeah, when we brush it out here, all the hair, where I brush it, it's gonna stay in that spot, right? Sometimes you'll notice like if you brush and the hair is still kind of like folding or resisting, that's how we know that we want it to stay under the covers for a little bit longer. These are actually like doing really well after those 5 minutes. You can see the hair is soft, but it still has like life to it. I always like to say it's kind of like when you're cooking pasta, like it's not like super soft and like see-through. Like we want it to stay structured and there. So I think there's about 3 minutes left on the timer and the 10-minute timer.
Jackie, will you take those 3 minutes and reset your screen? It still looks fine, but if there's a way to go a little bit closer for the next part, that would be great. I think,
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know which one you have, but it honestly just needs like dropped a little bit, but the angle and where it's laying is actually perfect.
Wait, what are you saying? What needs to be dressed?
Just drop that part where you can make it come closer, but not changing any angles or anything.
Okay, hold on. That's good. Do you want me to zoom out like I zoomed in earlier?
No, this is good. Just drop it a little bit more.
The only thing, hold on. This?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Let's see. I got some troubleshooting questions I'm going to save until the end. You already answered your go-to lamination product. Okay, someone said, how do you deal with those stubborn hairs that just won't lay flat, even after it hits like the max processing time?
Yeah, I either just tweeze them out, to be honest with you. Or sometimes I'll let the client know, like, if it's their first time laminating and they have very thick or coarse hair, the hair is not always going to do exactly what you want it to do right away, right? So this is kind of more of like a process in that situation. Whereas like I would have them come back regularly for a few months to laminate them. That way the hair can kind of like learn and become a little bit more soft over time. So I think that those hairs that are stubborn, it's just a natural part of this process. Like they're not all 100% going to be laying flat at all times. It's just like not humanly possible. So I think that's important to remember. But if it's like not going to change the shape at all, if it's like in the middle or whatever, I just yank them, to be completely honest with you.
Someone said, do you do any patch tests? What if after someone, I don't know, they worded this a little weird, but basically, do you offer a patch test, or what do you recommend for people?
Yeah, first of all, I'm just removing the product right now, just so you guys know. I'm going to take that off. But and I always use it. Lately, I've been using a dry cotton. This is like a big controversy, I feel like. I've used wet, I've used dry. It makes zero difference in the lamination process. So me personally, I just use a dry one. But if you're using it wet or damp or whatever, in my opinion, doesn't make a difference. So what was that? I'm sorry, what was that question?
The reaction, like a patch test.
You guys, maybe I'm like horrible, but I've never done a patch test a day in my life. I don't know. I feel like if someone's worried about it and they're like, I'm very sensitive and, you know, and they're like mentioning that to you ahead of time, I would maybe do it that way. But I've done so many laminations, and especially with Tuya, I really feel like they're pretty gentle. And I have never, I'm going to knock on wood, I've never had any issues with anything like that. So that's just like me and my business. I don't personally offer them, but I do understand why people do that. I just think it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, how do you fit that into your schedule? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I have a lot, we're not there yet, Jackie, but just know I have a lot of people that are asking about trimming. And I think that's where most people with laminations take some time to talk about how you trim, but I know we're not exactly there yet, but we'll
of course.
definitely
That's
think
a big one too.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with trimming.
Yeah, when we do that, I'll definitely go through that. But I wanted to tell you guys the next step that I'm going to do after step 1 is, this is also like my little secret weapon. Okay. Look at this. I don't know if you guys have ever used, can you see it? I don't know if you've ever used this for lash lifting. I do lash lift sometimes, and this company I love for their lash lifting products, but this is like a hydrating balm. You're supposed to use it in between step 1 and 2. This completely changed the game for me. It's just like a hydrating like mask. I do it for 5 minutes on every single client. I've even noticed on sometimes, I don't know if you can tell, there are a few hairs in here that are like lifted. They're not totally laying flat. Like I said, I feel like that's a natural thing that happens with lamination. But this, I feel like, gives it a little bit of weight and hydration in between. And this definitely helps with them sitting a little bit more flat. So this I do for every lamination. I'm just going to apply it.
Jackie, what's that called? I'm going to look up the link and drop it.
This is the Boo Lash Deluxe Balm. I thought I gave it to you, but maybe I forgot. Hold on.
Okay. I have it. I already have it. You're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. So that I'm going to put on for 5 minutes. This is also good to use as like, if someone comes in, you know, in between their laminations, and let's say they're not really doing well with like aftercare at home and their brows are a little bit dry or whatever, you can always use this as like a conditioning treatment to add on to the wax service or the wax and tint service. And it definitely makes a big difference on like the texture of the hair. And I always use it with the plastic too. And I want to show you guys what I have my plastic wrap in case you don't know about this either. And again, you can use this towel. It's just like a nice little like mask, like relax, take a little nap. Okay, so this I have linked in my Amazon account. I'm going to zoom out just for a second and zoom back in, but this, I don't know if you guys have seen this. You can see it okay. My plastic wrap is in there. So when I need to use it, I'll pull a little piece out and then it just, it just cuts it. It cuts it right like that. If you guys aren't using that, I don't know how you're using it, but that really saves so much time. Okay.
Stacy can drop that link.
Yeah, that one's in my Amazon.
Link.
Amazon link. Yeah.
We have a lot of links, guys. My I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just click every link and just like open it to a new
Click all the links. Okay, so this just sits for 5 minutes. You don't have to do anything. Like, I know a lot of people offer, like, if you're also doing like facial services, like you could give them a little massage during this time, like a little scalp massage. I think if I did that to my clients, they would think I was losing my mind. So we just talk shit in this moment. If you have to go to the bathroom or something, this is a good time.
I'll go ahead and answer. I'll go ahead and keep going with questions.
Yeah.
Someone said, any tips for getting ultra fine hairs on guests that also have oily skin?
Maybe I don't understand the question. Tips on getting fine hairs.
I just think oily, but I think that has a lot to do with prepping. So do you want to go over what you prep with to make sure that their skin is like super clean and ready for the product?
Yeah, I just use like a regular, whatever I use to cleanse the brows, like before, just a regular like wax and tint appointment. It's just a cleanser from Amazon, to be completely honest with you. And then I always just make sure that it's dry. So whenever I do the cleanser in the beginning, I'll take a dry cotton and just dry it, on top of that before I put any products. But I really don't do like anything crazy. It's just a general cleanse. And I've never had any issues with that. Oily or not oily skin, I've never really noticed a difference in my results. The only thing I will say I do notice with fine hair is that sometimes I don't always process it for the full amount of time, 10 minutes.
Someone asked if this step interferes with neutralizing step 1.
No. This product is meant for, and I do think that they advertise it for lamination as well. I actually messaged them to see if they would do a discount code too. This is like an Australian based company. But no, this is meant to go in between step 1 and 2 for the lash lift as well. So
Jackie, this is a really good question. Somebody asked if what to do if the client has like different brow texture throughout. So like you'll have some people that like have like those thicker fronts and maybe like they taper off into a thinner like end. Do you change anything with clients like that?
You could always remove the hair from that certain area if you notice that, maybe like the front of the eyebrows are processing a little bit faster than the ends. I've never run into an issue where I've had to do that. But it's definitely possible. I would just remove the product with the cotton, either dry or wet, whatever you like to use, and just keep the product on the rest of the hair.
Oh, and then what's like your tried true with just knowing by looking at the brows when they're done? Like, is there like something that you like always make sure that it's doing in order for you to know that you're getting right to that final step before removal for the first step?
I just like to make sure that like when I brush them in place, that they're not giving me any like resistance. So I feel like that for me is my main thing, and that they're majority laying flat. Sometimes if I have like a few, I'm just removing this guys really quick with a dry cotton. But if there's like a few, I feel like there's that look to them, right? Like if you're processing them, they look like they're getting very clear or like super thin. Like I feel like that's an indication that it's getting like a little bit too processed. Like I like them to still look like they have like weight to them, but they're doing what I want them to do, right? So like if I brush them to the side, they're going to stay to the side. You'll notice like if they're not ready, when you brush them, right, like they still curl up or they still like are resisting like where you're brushing them. And that's when I'll add a little bit of product to that area or just keep them under the towel for a little bit longer. So I think, did I answer
Yeah, that answered it. And feel free to keep dropping questions if you guys have them. I'm going off of what you guys are asking, but then I'm also going off of the
And I
response.
feel like that's like such a hard thing to explain, like exactly like what to look for. But when I say like you'll notice it, like I feel like we all know what that looks like when they're getting like over processed, is they look just like sad, like wilted little flowers, you know? Oh. And honestly, guys, that's seriously what goes through my brain when I do these services is like, I'm just like thinking of real life experiences that I can compare this to, because when you really think about like what we're doing, it can be kind of scary, you know, but this is the neutralizer. So because we did 10 minutes with step 1, we're going to do 10 minutes with step 2. And kind of the same thing. This part of the lamination, you're not really doing much with. And if you guys notice, like I'm always keeping the hair like in this position. I'm not brushing it back and forth. I'm not like moving the hair. I want it to stay in this nice like flow, like up and over, right? Like we've all seen eyebrows that we look at and they look good. And like, that's kind of what I think about in my head is, I turn a little bit this way, like a natural eyebrow. We want it to look as natural as possible. So I always, always, always keep them in this like up and over. And always make sure that they're just like really saturated with product. That's like my number one thing. You never want them to look dry. Okay, starting the timer again for the second eyebrow, and then we're going to place the plastic over. Just make sure it's really tight, and then you can also put the, at this point the mask isn't doing anything. It's just kind of more of like for your client, just to keep them comfortable and relaxed. But like this part I would say is a little bit boring. I like to give it another 5 minutes again before I touch it. And what I'll do at that point is I just kind of brush the product through the hair and make sure everything is nicely like coated and I like to keep it brushed in this position through the entire time. So if there's any other questions about anything too that's like not technically about this, like we can answer them now since there's not really much going on. Make sure
Okay,
that
you answer the over processed or under processed look to them. It says, what does your aftercare look like for a client getting a lamination?
Okay, that's a good one. So I usually give them, if it's their first appointment, and I've noticed that my clients that come regularly for laminations, like when they come back, they're pretty much just really asking for like clean spoolies. But I always give them one of these brow juices and I put it in these little bags. Hold on. In this little bag here, but it's pretty simple. The brow juice is like the oil that we make here. And so it comes in like a little roller if you open that up. And I usually have them, I recommend to use this every night before bed. Obviously 24 hours after we laminate them, we're not going to have them get them wet. And I'm going to explain this to her also at the end too, just so this is her first lamination too. So I want to make sure she knows, but 24 hours, you're not going to get them wet. After 24 hours, you're always going to make sure that you're putting some kind of conditioning treatment in your hair, whether it be oil, which I do give them this one here. I know I've heard a lot of bad stuff about castor oil, but again, I've had clients that are getting laminations regularly for 5 years, every 8 weeks. A lot of them just use plain castor oil, and I've had no issues with that. So do with that information what you will. We all have our own opinions, I think, but I just go off of what I know and what my clients have told me and what I see with my own eyes. And castor oil I've had no issues with. I also give them a little container, and sometimes I'll put in here, this is Olaplex number 6, the leave-in conditioner. I'll show you guys that package so you know what that looks like. You can get that at like the beauty store, obviously, but number 6. This is a really good aftercare for some people with like a little bit more thick or coarse hair. I feel like sometimes the oil isn't enough weight to like hold them in place like as they're sleeping. So I like to give them both because there are some people that prefer the oil and there's some people that prefer the conditioning treatment. It's literally a preference. As long as there's some kind of hydration in their hair every night, I feel like I'm okay with whatever that may be. So yeah, I again, this is all just like me talking to my clients as they come in, and I'll say, what have you been using as aftercare? And they all, sometimes they come in, they say, I'm just using the oil, or I prefer to use the Olaplex, and their hair is still healthy. And so like, to me, that just tells me that like, who really cares like what exactly they're using, you know, as long as it's like hydrating. I even had a client, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the brand Weleda. It's like a moisturizer. You can get it at Whole Foods. It's like super, super thick. I use that as a moisturizer actually. And I had a client one time, like her eyebrows after laminating them, they were so like soft and hydrated. And she said that's what she put in them. And I was like, just really pop off, queen. Like, who cares, you know? Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna brush them through. This is just to like make sure that all of the hair has product through it here. But again, you can see, you guys can see, right? I'm sorry. Yeah. Again, you can see I'm always keeping the hair brushed in this same position. We're not messing around. I know I've seen people brush up, brush down, like whatever it may be, but for me, I like to just keep it in the same position.
Do you give new aftercare to every client or every client every appointment, or just the first time with the first client?
So I usually just give them that brow juice with the first appointment. And that should last a good amount of time. If they come in and they ask for like more of the Olaplex or more like castor oil, I'll just give them the castor oil. I feel like to charge them for that kind of stuff is a little silly. Like, you almost have to kind of put that in the price of your lamination, where it would like include if they need a refill on those types of aftercare. But obviously, like the big thing of brow juice, like, you know, I would charge for that. And we do wholesale those too. So
Someone asked about argan oil, but like, is there, because I know you said that like whatever is hydrating, is there any ingredients you stay away from in terms of options?
So I feel like the only like ingredient that I've really like consciously like stayed away from for that is tea tree oil, because I do think it is drying. I know that there's tea tree and fir oil, right? I'm right about that.
Just in the fir oil, not in the concentrate. I have to check. I have to check on that.
Okay. Well, either way, I try not to use the fir oil in the brows like at all after because I do use it for after waxing. But I would just say like tea tree oil is the main one that I would stay away from because it can be drying. But there's argan oil in the brow juice, and so that's perfectly fine. Castor oil, vitamin E oil.
Do you have like a margin example of like how much you think is fair to charge for a lamination service, given like aftercare, products, time, all of that stuff? I guess you can just share about how much you charge.
Pricing,
I can share how much I charge.
Yeah, I obviously know we're all in different like areas, so that would change the the range of like pricing. I charge 125. And that includes the lamination plus wax and tint. My thing is like I book an hour, right? So 125 for the hour. And I feel like personally, I would rather somebody come frequently for laminations. Like, not that I'm trying to be affordable for everyone, but like I think it's important to not overly price it because you want them to be coming back every other month for the service to continue it, right? Like, so if they come in once, it just kind of like defeats the purpose. So for me, I feel like between like 120, 150 would be like a decent, fair. I don't know what you charge, Kirsten, but
I remember Jackie telling me what she charged, and I said, "Sounds good." I charge 125. I've gotten
me too.
I don't know. 125 is good because when you think about it, you think about time.
Right.
It's like, and for me, Jackie doesn't do this, but I offer Brazilians. And so I have to consider that. Like, what if I could get 4 people to do a Brazilian wax in that same time? I have to make it make sense for my business to still book out that same exact time and I still make money as an esthetician. So keep that all in mind. Be a very smart esthetician when it comes to that and know what you want your books to look like and what you're okay with it looking like at the end of the day, price wise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that for me, I'm all like, every year or so, I kind of will raise the price just a little bit. Maybe by like $5 just to like keep things interesting, you know?
Katie said, I'm charged 80 in Ohio. I'm raising my prices.
Well, I've
your
had
price.
it. Oh, she said she charges 80?
And she's like, I'm raising my prices. Yeah, raise your prices. 80 is not enough. I really don't believe 80 is enough.
And I don't know what you guys charge for like waxing and tinting either. I charge for wax and tint, I charge 65. So I feel like when you include the wax and tint with the lamination price already, they're kind of getting like a deal, you know, like in their mind. But yeah, 80 is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Someone said, I always tell anyone to charge what you want to make an hour. Because at the end of the day, they're paying more. Of course, you're paying for margins, but they're paying for your skill. I've seen a lot of at-home laminations on TikTok to know that it is well worth the price to come and who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. I had a client once come from somewhere in California and her eyebrows were frazzled is the word. And she had never heard of aftercare. And she said she paid $225 or like $250 or something. And I didn't say much, but in my mind, I was like, wow. Okay. Okay, girly. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to set up for that was the lamination. I'm going to set up for the waxing tint in my little area here. But basically, like, what I see, are you okay? You want like a water or something?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Whenever I laminate them with this technique, like I truly feel like the shape is showing itself already, right? Like we can see the arch here, like the hair's like kind of folding down towards the ends there. Like it gives me kind of like a nice idea. I don't map with string or with like a ruler or none of that. I just kind of eyeball it, and that's just how I've learned how to do eyebrows. So obviously if you guys use like a mapping technique or anything like that, I feel like that's great. But I will kind of like talk about how I map my eyebrows.
Questions in the beginning had a lot to do with mapping and a lot to do with trimming.
Okay.
And I feel like you do map them. Like create. I think you do map them. I think you don't map them same as like the string. But
right. I don't use like any kind of like, in my mind, what I do when I use the mapping paste is just to give me a clear like guideline of like what I'm going to be waxing, right? But a lot of times, like I use wax to like remove like the bulk of the hair, but I get a lot of like the shaping and like precision, obviously from tweezing. So the mapping that I do, like in my mind, I can kind of see this shape here already. What I'm seeing here is from here to here, right? It's pretty much already in a straight line. but then we get this little dip right there. So like my goal right now is to get rid of that little dip because I want to make sure that we're creating straight lines. So hold on. I need water, sorry. Okay. This is just like a an angled brush that I was sent. I'm sorry, Saint and Serenity. This is what I use to map. I don't know why. It's just like a random brush that I decided that I liked for this. But I do like the angled brush to map when I'm doing it. And I like to just start like at the front of the eyebrow here, where it like naturally the hair starts. And like I said, we're gonna follow this. I'm gonna hold the skin tight. We're gonna follow this all the way back here. And we're just like free balling, eyeballing. We're having fun with it, okay? We're having fun. Is everyone having fun?
Yes, I can confirm. Everyone's changing their prices. I can confirm what's happening on the back
Everyone's
end.
raising their prices.
Every
yeah.
single person is like, I'm not going to be charging my current prices.
No. No, that's crazy.
Maybe you're just having a blast, actually.
Everyone's having a blast. Okay.
Having a blast.
Okay, so I know maybe I post this a lot in my videos, but for me, again, because I am like eyeballing this and I want to create like a straight like line here with the brows, but I always like to like identify the ends of the eyebrows, like where, and this is where like your creativity and your like artistic abilities come to play, right? Like there's really truly no like right way to shape an eyebrow. Like it really depends on like the client's expectations, your own style. Like for me, I just like to identify where the end of the eyebrow is and where the beginning of the eyebrow is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to match it up so it's a nice like cohesive line. Okay, so I like to start it like this, where there's a line in the front, a line in the back, and then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to just guide it here to where it like lines up there. And you can kind of see like we still have that little dip, right? So what I'm going to do is just make sure that I'm using this pencil, this little mapping paste, to give me like a clear vision of like where I want the eyebrows to be. I think something that's really important with doing a lamination, especially with someone that has like fuller fuller eyebrows, is we don't want them to look like big balls on her face. Like we want to give her a nice shape, while also keeping them full. But a lot of times that's like biggest pet peeve is like the idea of a lamination is not to make them the biggest eyebrows like you could possibly ever imagine. So we want to make sure that we're giving everyone like a nice shape that they're not going to have to like struggle to style at home. So I'm just going to go through here, and this doesn't have to be beautiful and perfect. It's just an idea, right? And then what I'll do here is like I'll line this up in the front. Get a little bit more.
Jackie, is your website where people, because a lot of people want to look at your tools up for purchase. Is your website, I forget, is it gated?
Ooh, what's that mean?
Like do you need to log in to buy stuff?
I think so. Like
I think so. Well, because somebody said drop the mapping paste specifically, but I'm gonna go ahead and find it. But you might create an account, which it's super easy to do. But I'll find it.
This is the cold foam that's on our website, the mapping paste.
Well, everyone's talking about it, so you know.
Really?
Everyone's obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's just like so creamy and it like glides so nicely. The one thing I will say though is like to remove it, you kind of need an oil. Sometimes the cleanser just like pushes it around, so I like to remove it with an oil. I use the brow juice actually, and this I'll show at the end, but this I have like the back bar size. This is the brow juice that we use, and we make it here. But I like to remove the tint and these mapping lines with that oil, just because it doesn't have the tea tree oil that the fur, which is what I usually use. So yeah, I'm out of breath. I'm yapping so much today. Hold on. Okay. So again, I like to start at the end, start at the front, and then I like meet the lines in the middle. I feel like for whatever reason, maybe that's like just how my brain functions, but this just makes so much sense to me. And I'm always like wanting to make sure that where the arch is on the top. So here you can kind of like, it's already doing it for you, right? See the hair, this is where it's arching. I want to make sure that wherever I create the arch on the bottom, it's lining up with the arch on the top. So we want to like angle it, just follow the brow like naturally. I hope that's making sense to you because that's just what I see. That's where my brain goes. This side specifically is always the hardest, but I encourage you guys to try it this way. And then I'm always like getting up. I'm like, right now I'm standing like directly above her and I'm like looking at it. And I always like make adjustments that way. Like I never stay in one spot. Also, I don't know if you guys, what kind of chairs or beds that you're using for
Someone just asked.
brows. What about the chair?
Yeah.
This is the oh my God, Glamcore. Ooh, Galaxy MFG. This is the Kelly Baker chair. I want to say it's like the Bellagio is the name of it. There is a headrest that comes with it. I remove it. I was a dental assistant before I did eyebrows, and so like I'm comfortable in this position. And I think from just like being able to sit behind them and like roll around and get like close up, like it just makes such a huge difference. I did use a massage table before, and I feel like you're just kind of limited to like as close as you can get to the client. I want to say like my eyebrow work was like 10 times better once I switched from the massage table to this type of chair. But obviously I know some of you guys offer other services and it's not ideal, but I would just say that that makes a big difference. Okay, everyone sees that, right? Is the zoom good or should I zoom out a little?
No, keep it
Good.
there.
Okay. Okay, about trimming, I want to say that a lot of the trimming, like how I decide if I'm going to trim or not, is based off of the client's expectation as well. Like some people, and I want to say that don't ever be afraid to show your client if you're not 100% sure like about the shape or whatever. Like I always will give my client a mirror and be like, what do you think about this? Or like just kind of give them the idea of like what it could look like if we do A, B, or C, right? Like I think involving the client to an extent is really important because I feel like they'll trust you a little bit more, you know, by getting their opinion, because not everyone likes the same shit. Maybe she wants her eyebrows to be more fluffy, then I wouldn't really be trimming them as much, right? Like there's no straight, I'm doing this for every client. Like I'm just going to ask her what she wants and I'm going to kind of style it based off of that. So, if she wanted hers to be a little bit more fluffy and not so like formed, I would just kind of keep them long like this. And maybe if you see where the hairs are kind of like uneven, all I would do is just trim the tips so that they were kind of sitting like in the same line. If she wanted them a little bit thinner and then I would trim them a little bit more flush, right? So that's kind of how I decide whether or not I'm going to be trimming like a lot or just the tips of them, you know? Do you have a preference, Taylor?
I just want them to look full.
Look, okay, she wants them to look full. So basically, I'm just gonna kind of keep them like fluffy like this, but I am going to just kind of trim like the tips so it gets rid of those like little fine ends there. So I'm gonna start at the ends here. I'm making sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Should I turn? Good?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So again, you can kind of see like these hairs are super long compared to the rest. I'm just evening that out, right? And I'm just going to go along this line here. And what I kind of do too, this is like, you see, I'm just literally dusting. It's like a little, like a bang trim. I'm dusting the tips, right? And so I'm going to do that from the tip to like where the arch is here. Okay. Once I get off that angle to where the arch and the ends of her eyebrow is, from here to the front of her eyebrows, I'm going to use my tool to help me. And I'm going to just keep the scissor flat and straight. And I'm just going to trim straight through. So here. And so this is the scariest part. Okay. I understand that. But sometimes it takes a little bit of just like trimming and playing around before they're like the right style, right? Like, so here, a lot better, a lot more clean and like precise, but there are still areas where it's like not totally straight, right? Like here, a little bit longer, here, a little bit longer. So I'm just going to go through again and just like lightly dust the tips. And you can always start like a very light, like trimming, and just kind of go from there, like a little tip at a time. Part of me, something like you. And again, like I like to stand up, I like to look at different angles, and I like to make sure that I can see everything. I think like what's important here is to remember that like we are just like human beings, right? Like we're not perfect little robots. And so sometimes it's not always going to be 100%. A lot of times the client, like you could look at them and not be totally 100% satisfied. And they're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I think that's important to like remember is just do the best that you can. And if you're not 100% sure, like don't be afraid to ask your client, like, hey, how do you feel about this? Do you want me to trim them more? Do you want me to go a little bit thinner with the shape? Like I think that's made such a huge difference in like my clients' like happiness is me involving them in that process, you know. Can you guys see this side now? Hold on. Yes. So we can see this one here trimmed. And I didn't trim a lot. It was really just like a light dusting. So we're gonna do the same thing here. And this, some people, like this doesn't look bad, right? Like them being fluffy and like a little bit longer here. Like I think that's a vibe, but that's again where it comes into play is you ask your client, like, do you like this or do you want me to trim them a little bit, you know? So I'm just gonna trim this side the same way. It's so weird, like doing this and then it's like silence after. I'm like, hello. Is everybody?
I'm letting people focus on this because I know it's really like the what most people have a question around. What I'm gathering is like you just do really microscopic cuts, like you don't really take at any point any large cuts. I think that's what people struggle with and why it ends up being blunt. And also I've noticed that you're cutting before you put on any of the aftercare, waxing, anything. Like, is this a step every time for you?
Usually yes, I want to say.
So like after step 2, before you go into tint and wax.
Yeah, I just like to kind of see, because sometimes the trimming will change the shape of the brows a lot. So then I kind of like use that as a guide from waxing. So again, I just kind of take things in like little steps. My brain can only handle so much. So like right now I'm just focusing from here to here, right? Trim, trim, trim. And oh my God, almost is hitting me in the head. My glam core is so low, you guys. I have like a hunchback over here. Okay, so and all the way to the little arch there. And I don't know what kind of scissors you guys use. I've pretty much tried every product and like scissor like tool. And for me, I like the ones that have like a little angle, like a little dip there. These I got at one of the esthetician shows from one of those like tweezer, like the metal tables, right? Like they have all those like tweezers and scissors. I bought this when I first started doing eyebrows at the Orlando like premiere show, and I can't live without these. Like, I don't know how they've lasted me so long, but for whatever reason, these scissors I can work with a little bit better than the others. So I just prefer this style. But I'm gonna just use this again and just go straight across. And you'll see how like I could possibly pull out my scissors again, like towards the end of the service and maybe trim a little bit more. But I feel like the majority of the trimming, like I'll get done here. And you can kind of see it just gives it a little bit more. Sorry, Taylor, I'm just pushing your head around. But yeah, a little bit more structure, but without making them so like, you don't want to look like a bad haircut, right? Like we just want to like dust it lightly so it still looks like natural. And obviously like as the hair grows out, it looks even more natural. So we don't want to cut too much off, because then also what happens is when the hair starts to go back to its natural state, we don't want it to look like choppy. It's also why I have my clients grow their hair out, like ask them not to trim or tweeze or whatever for at least like 3-4 weeks, because you want to use the length of the hair to give you a little bit more of a shape. I just realized I forgot to take a before photo here, but I do have one from somewhere. I have your picture somewhere.
I think everybody can probably relate to that.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to wax. She doesn't have a lot of hair. Like growth, like for waxing, but I do like to wax just to kind of clean up around the area. I like to use penny wax for someone like in this situation, where it's not a lot of hair that we're picking up, and it's just like a very like gentle, nice little cleanup wax. So that's what we're using. My fresh little can here. I'm just gonna take like a little bit here.
Do you stay below that line or do you have it go into that line?
I usually go like right below. Again, like I use this mostly just to clean up like the excess hair. You'll see like after I'll wax, like when I remove that white line, I'll tweeze like the ones to make it look really, really precise. I also like to just kind of this little lip here. I like to flatten it out just that way there's no like bleed through into the eyebrows.
Jackie, I know you use penny and patina. Someone asked, do you have a preference, or like when do you decide to use penny over patina or vice versa?
Yeah, so I just use I like to use penny for like anyone just like very fine, more sensitive skin. And patina I've been using for coarse hair, just if there's more like cleanup to be done. I hope I'm using that right.
You are.
I hope that's right.
You're right.
But that's just what I kind of gathered. It's like a cream wax and then like a jelly wax, in my opinion. The jelly I use for more like thin, sensitive, fine.
Yeah, so patina is formulated from penny. So everyone loved penny so much that we didn't want to change that base. But what we did change was the additive, which is titanium dioxide, to give it that opaque, creamy base. And what titanium dioxide is meant for is really grabbing those tougher hairs. And so that is a great example that Jackie used in terms of which one for what. I still think both waxes are great. Penny's good
Yes.
handling the tougher hairs also, but Penny's such a guarantee because it is thicker, and so many people also like the preference between gel and cream. So it's nice to have options just depending on the situation. And patina still is sensitive based. So like we always say, we formulate always keeping sensitive skin in mind.
Yes.
So no fillers, no additives, nothing but what's supposed to be doing its job, which is removing the hair and keeping your clients feeling good in the process.
Amen. Yeah, I've had a lot of like new clients that come in and they're always so scared of waxing because, you know, their experience is like a nail salon, and they'll say like, oh, I always get irritated after wax, or I'm so red or whatever. And then they'll leave. And when they come back the next time, they're always so like shocked how their skin didn't react the same way. And I'm like, well, when you use the right products. And also, you guys, I am like so traumatized by like skin lifting that I don't know if you notice the little strips that I use to wax. I literally do that for every single client just for my own brain, but just little tiny sections is what I do, and that just helps with like, I don't know, just my thoughts. Okay. I'm gonna just like gently fold the hair down here without like changing the positioning too much so that I can wax on top. Normally when we do Taylor's brows, we do hybrid tint. I'm like staying away from that lately with laminations just because number one, it's so aggressive.
Someone had that question earlier, by the way. I was saving it, but someone was asking what their take was on hybrid tint with lamination.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, for some people that have really thin or like sparse brows, even after the lamination, I do feel like it can do a lot for them. However, I just don't think that it can last like for a decent amount of time, because think about like, you know, you put that cream on right after, like 20% of that is going to be removed once they wash their face for the first time. They're using oils every night, so like it's going to just wear away from the skin. So I almost feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of what you're staining, you know, the skin for. I do have a lot of clients that prefer it. And again, just communicating with the client, like what their expectations are, I feel like is how I kind of decide whether or not to do that kind of tint. But lately I have not been using it. I try to talk people out of it. Especially for like the purpose of like the reveal. I don't know about you guys, but 90% of people that get a lamination done for the first time, they look at their eyebrows and they're like, are you for real? Like, but I feel like if you add on like aggressive tint to that, they're gonna be like, lady, what did you do to me? And I like to always tell them in the beginning of the service, like, please don't expect to like your eyebrows today. Like, it's just the truth of it. When I first started doing laminations, I seriously was going to quit because I thought I sucked so bad. And when they would text, every single person would text me 2 days, 48 hours, like on the dot later and say, I'm obsessed. But like those first 2 days are just like scary. So as if you just kind of like almost like hype it up a little bit too much, like forewarn them, like, hey, it's going to look really dark today. Like, just keep that in mind. Like, I always stress that part, because otherwise they're going to leave here and be like, what did I do?
My trick is I always like, before I give them the mirror, I make it sound way scarier than it is. And when they see it, they're automatically like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's not that bad. I also, if it's like their first,
get them ready.
If it's their first lamination, I'll show them their brows before I put the conditioning treatment on too. Like, The conditioning treatment makes them look, yeah, like black and like wet. And so what I'll do is I'll show them in the mirror. And then as they're looking in the mirror, I'll place the step 3. And then I'll be like, okay, well, this is how it's going to look today. But I just wanted to show you that way you can see like, it's not going to look like that. It's just because of the conditioning treatment that we have to use. So again, you just like involve your clients. They're going to trust you so much. And like, they're really going to thank you for that. So, but yeah, you can see like, there's still, we want to like make these look perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brow juice and I just put a little, look, I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. I put a little bit of the brow juice there like that. And then I'll just remove the white line with this. A little bit of pressure, and this oil is like very hydrating, so it's not going to cause any like reaction or anything like kind of damage to the hair. And also will help to remove any of the wax left over on the skin. It doesn't do a great job with that. Like that's what I like to use fur for. So if I ever have a problem where like the wax isn't coming off, I will take a little bit of the fur and I'll just make sure I'm only using around the hair. I won't touch the hair with it. Just can see it here. It's not blurry when you guys look at it, right?
No, I mean, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks so pretty. Someone just said so pretty.
They look nice. I also, when I'm choosing to use like a hair staining tint versus a hybrid tint, I like to in a normal, not a lamination, I like to use a like that same barrier cream. I'll place it all through the hair, like literally brush it in the hair, and then I'll tint over that. And that literally only colors the hair. You get no skin stain underneath. I don't like to use that product in the hair right after a lamination. So I do feel like sometimes when you use the oil in the brows, it acts similar as like a barrier between the skin. So you're not getting like an aggressive skin stain. I know I get yelled at for this sometimes, but I don't use gloves. So I'm only putting gloves on because I got a new manicure and it was expensive. So I'm protecting my nails.
Fair.
I don't know. I always get that. If I post like a TikTok, it's like, no gloves. Are you do the Russian? What? Russian manicure? No, it just was an expensive gel polish.
While Jackie gets all of that tent together, I know I knew this class was going to go over because Jackie, I knew you have so many questions. No, you're good. I only actually have like 2 announcements to make for all those that have to hop off, but I do recommend staying because the tent's really important. So you guys all paid money to be in this class, and I'm so grateful that you guys trusted us to do that. I always tell people when you pay attention. And so we wanted you to have a teeny bit of skin in the game. However, we are a brand. And so we wanted to make sure to give you it right back following the class. And so you guys will get $15 off of any purchase on our website with the code webinar15. I do ask that you keep this code to yourself. Please do not give this code away. We are a small brand, but we wanted to make sure that we are giving you the payment for coming to the class. So webinar 15, you have until today to Sunday to use it. Again, we didn't provide any threshold on it. We just wanted you to be able to have the opportunity to try some of the products that Jackie used in the treatment room. And then for our last announcement, I'll go ahead and just share my screen really quick while she's doing that. I need a visual for it.
What is it?
I'll say it in a second.
You'll need a drum roll?
If you want. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have already locked in our next speaker. And so this is a training that I'm super excited about because we didn't know what to expect from this. This was our first one. You guys literally sold this class out in less than a week. I don't think I breathed for that entire 5 days. And so we're so excited to be able to offer this again. This time it will be a Brazilian class with Reese. If you guys know who this is, she is Moon Me Wax Studio. She is a trainer. She does in-person training. She has online training, and she is somebody who I highly admire in our esthetician community. And so she said yes. We locked in July 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's again a virtual class. It will be recorded. And then the cost is again $15. We're doing that for you guys, and we're not opening this class until July. So you're basically getting the first availability into getting the class. Like I said, this one sold out in less than a week. And so we want to make sure those who wanted to attend for the Brazilian were able to get in and have the opportunity to join early on. So if you want to join that class, Stacy's going to go ahead and drop that link. And then she's also going to provide it in the email following up with the training or with the training today. But I want to go ahead. I'll stop sharing this and we'll go back to Jackie. But I wanted this to be in the recording, and I didn't want anybody that had to be removed to miss out on this opportunity. I'm so excited about this. I stopped breathing when Jackie said yes. So I'm here. I'm also going to do it again.
So much fun. Okay. So I just was like, oh, hold on, I zoomed out. I was just trimming, just tweezing a little. Again, like in my mind, I'm just kind of trying to create straight lines. So something that I'll do is sometimes is this a good angle, guys?
Yes.
Something's wrong. Okay. Something that I'll do, like when I'm just shaping brows in general, is like, if there's ever a hair that I'm really not sure if it will look good removed, like maybe this is like a basic tip, but I always just kind of like fold it down and I'll see like what it would look like without. And that's just kind of how I'll decide like yes or no on a hair that you're just kind of confused about. But you can see most of her hair is laid pretty flat. Maybe there's a few like inside of here like that are going its own little direction. So truthfully, I just yank them out. And I want to say that when I did one official training for a lamination, and it was through Tuya itself, like during COVID. And I had asked them the same question, and that's what they had to answer. So I feel like that's the right answer. Just pull it out. Okay. So for whenever I'm using just to color the hair tint, this is my, like, I would like die without this product. This is like die without, okay? Natural brown hair pearl tint. I use this on myself. I use this on people with super dark hair, blonde hair, like red hair. I don't know what magic is in this product, but it will just kind of take like its natural color to the client. So I love this, but I put a little bit on there. I'm going to use the developer. I didn't realize I was talking for so long, and I feel kind of bad, but hey, if you guys are still here.
No, I knew it was gonna run over. I should have been more realistic with the lamination. It's literally in studio, it takes over an hour sometimes. So in person, it would obviously do more. Plus, I did an intro and all of that. But thank you guys for hanging out. I mean,
we're hanging out. I was gonna say something and I totally forgot. What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm pretty good at like timing as far as like with my clients. Like a lamination with wax and tint usually takes me an hour, like on the dot 1 hour. Some things that I'll do, like, and obviously if you're just like starting out or like you're perfecting it, like don't rush it at all. Like literally book yourself 2 hours if you have to. That's more important until you get comfortable. But what I usually would do is I'll put the tint on and I'll wax around while the tint is processing, and that just kind of like saves like 10-15 minutes. So yeah, it never takes me this long to do a lamination, but I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. So I'm going to take this here. and I'm gonna be really ugly messy with it, but we're brushing it through the hair. Again, I'm not like super picky with the timer, but I just started it now for both sides, especially when I do like a hybrid tint. I'm a little bit more precise with the timer and like when I start it. But for the, and obviously like applying it too, like you have to be a little bit more precise. But for this, we're just getting the hair colored. Like that's our main goal here. Obviously, keep in mind any tint that you use after lamination is going to look a little bit darker just because of the pores in the hair are a little bit more open. So I feel like it soaks it up faster. But
Jackie, are you still using Brow Daddy for hybrid, or do you have? Was someone asked what hybrid?
I'm obsessed with Brow Daddy.
Yeah,
I can't stop using it. I used Bronson for a really long time. My opinion on Bronson is just that it was very inconsistent. Like I would have one client, I would use light brown, it would be black. The next client, it wouldn't show up at all. And it was just causing a lot of stress in my life and my schedule. So I feel like with Brow Daddy, I haven't had any issues. The skin stain is like really like prominent. So people that enjoy that, like they love it. And again, like whenever I try something new with a client, I'll straight up be like, hey, this is a new product. I'm going to try it out on you. Let me know what you think. And especially if they're used to using like a different, like all of them had been using Bronson for a while. So when I told them it was something different, they had something to kind of like compare it to. So, and I'm telling you that my clients love that. And they like to come in and they're like, let's use Brow Daddy today. Or like, you know, they like to know like what we're using. So I just think that's cute. But I'm gonna let this sit for maybe between like 6 minutes. We just want to make sure that it's all in the hair.
someone said, "What's your most used Brow Daddy color?"
A light brown.
Same.
And the way that I like choose, so I'll always explain to the client about the hair stain versus the skin stain. The hair stain, right? I like to use words that they'll understand. Like it gives you a little bit more dimension. Me personally, I use hair pearl on my hair. So I show them my eyebrows and I say like, here's what it looks like, you know, a few days in or whatever it may be. But and I like to say for the hybrid tint that it's like a little bit bolder, a little bit more like form shaping. It looks as if you have makeup in them, like little tools like that. Then I kind of give them the option of like what style they want. But no matter what, I'll always start with the lightest shade because there are some people that it just pulls super, super dark. And regardless, like any time that you add color or tint to their eyebrows, even if it's super light in your mind, they're gonna be like, oh my God, like this is so aggressive. This is so different. Like you want to kind of start slow. And I'll always tell them that, hey, today we're gonna start with light brown. I want you to take a look at, you know, how long it lasts you, when you start to see it fading. When you come in next time, if you want it to go a little darker, we can. Almost all the time they'll say like, let's go a little darker today, and they'll try it out. But like, it's okay to experiment and to tell your clients, like, we're trying this out today. Like, we're gonna try light brown, and like, just give them that information up front so they don't think that like, you know, to expect it's gonna be perfect the first time, because how do you know? So I always start off with the light browns. That's my spiel. And because sometimes it pulls so dark, so you really never know.
Do you charge same prices no matter what tint you use?
Yes.
Okay.
My opinion on that is just in those situations, I don't want someone to choose a tint that's not right for them based off of price, because at the end of the day, they're walking around and that's your work. So I don't ever like to, you know, change the pricing for that, because then some people could possibly pick the cheaper one, you know.
Stacy did pick out 3 winners for the giveaway. I'm going to go ahead and announce them now. So number 1 is Michaela Lewis. You won a patina and a penny.
Wow.
Number 2 is Sarah Weber. You won a pillow mask.
Heck
And
yeah.
number 3 is Katie Hart, and you won a merch item. But do you already have a merch item? I feel like you might, and if you do, I'll give you wax.
Okay.
It looks like
yeah,
question.
yeah, you can go ahead and unmute and ask.
Hey.
Oh, I'm going to drop Stacy's email. So just go ahead and email Stacy with your name, your email address, and your address. And we'll go ahead and get those in for you. And then Katie, I think you have merch. So just clarify and we'll switch it. Unless you want another piece, and then you just let me know.
Just cleaning this up a little while the tint's processing, but I do like to use Barbie's tweezers. I don't know if you guys use these for Browholics. The pointy ones, so good. I also, if I need to like order a bunch for cheap, I just will get the Tweezer Man ones on Amazon, but I do prefer Barbie's tweezers.
Same. I'm going to drop
Right?
that link.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something that I always recommend too with my clients, if you've ever noticed that somebody will come in after, 4 weeks or whatever it may be with their, maybe one side is like shriveling up a little bit more than the other. If you ask them if they sleep on the side of their face that's happening to, 90% of the time, the answer is yes. So I do like to recommend like a silk pillowcase for them, especially like, for them to be careful the first 24 hours when they're sleeping and just how the hair is laying. Like you want them to always keep it brushed in place, especially for the 24 hours so that the hair can settle. But I have noticed that can happen. So that was like 8 minutes, but you can see it's still like very natural. It just adds a little bit of dimension and color back into the hair. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed sometimes, like if you do a lamination without tinting, the hair sometimes can come back like orange, like bright orange, and it's terrifying. So if you notice that happening, or if your client mentions that, the only thing you have to do is brush a little bit of tint through the hair for a few minutes, and it should add the color back to it. And I'll always recommend that if I notice it. But we just wanted to give a little bit of life with color here. And
Let me see if I can pull up any other questions.
yeah, because we are almost done. I'm just looking the final little touches here.
I think I'm good over here. I think I've gotten them all. If you guys have any more,
Okay.
yeah. No, the $15 code for the new class, it's separate. So it's a separate like website. Like it won't take an Enso code is what I mean by that.
Okay, so I'm going to show her a mirror before. Actually, let me take a picture. I don't want to forget.
Kirsten, there was a question from Stephanie. She said, do you remove with a wet or dry cotton?
Oh, I use to remove the tint. I use the brow juice after a lamination.
I feel like that's
Otherwise-
like such a, is that not so taboo? I feel like to people, because I feel like I've never heard anybody do that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to like keep hydrating the brows throughout the process.
Right. It's like a constant hydration. I use it a few times throughout, but it removes the hair, it removes the tint like really nicely. I don't like to use water after, we finish lamination. So it takes place of that. Before I would just use a dry. It just like, you kind of have to like rub it a little bit harder. It's like more annoying. This just wipes it right off. I don't know if you guys use this for photos, but this just clips onto the camera. I mean, I feel like this is like old school now. There's so many better ways to do this, but this is what I use.
Someone said for brow daddy tint, which is preferred? They're cool, neutral, or warm tones.
Which is preferred.
Yeah.
So I have all of the brow daddy like other shades, and like the mix add-ins or whatever. I keep it very, very basic, light, medium brown, dark brown, like I just use the 3 of those. Sometimes I'll use the black if it's like, darker skin, and I'll add the black to like the dark brown or whatever. But I personally, I don't like to complicate things, right? When you add 15 colors to your, what you're using, I feel like you could sit there and think about it for so long. I just alternate between light, medium, and dark. Keep it very simple. My brain works that way better. And I honestly, truthfully, don't even notice a difference when I use the other colors. So, okay, Taylor, I'm going to give you a mirror. This is them without the conditioner. I'm going to add it onto their, which is going to make them look like really big and shiny. I always like to say too, like for the client, like looking at your eyebrows after you get them laminated is kind of like when you get lip filler, right? They're like swollen for a couple days. Like if you put it into that kind of perspective, they're going to understand that too. So I always say that. It's like if you get lip filler, they're swollen for a couple days, they're not going to be so like big and bold like after you can wash them. They'll lay a little bit more fluffy and natural. So it's important to like throw that out there, but don't ever expect someone to look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I love them. Like it seriously happens once out of like 30 people. It's a confusing time.
I'm looking at them and I'm like, they look so good.
Right.
But I know I'm also an esthetician.
Right. We see things so much differently than the client. And that's something that's like so important to remember. Like that's something I would get stuck up on so often is like, they have to be big, they have to be fluffy, they have to be like Instagram, like nobody likes that. Nobody but us. And it's just not ideal for the everyday woman, like the everyday life. Like this, she can brush them into place. She still has a nice shape. It's not like a big block on the face, And I feel like that's what a lot of people get scared of with the lamination too, is losing the shape or being too like fluffy. Gus, sorry. What are your thoughts about them? Your honest thoughts, Taylor?
I like
Look at him
that.
now. A little aggressive, right? Like you tell your husband to shut his mouth when you go home. Don't listen to anybody for the next 48 hours.
They're all wrong.
Everyone's wrong.
If 40 people tell you they're crazy, still listen to your brow girl.
No, don't listen to nobody.
I'm still right.
Stay away from children, the elderly. They have nothing good to say about your eyebrows for the next 2 days, okay? Okay, so the aftercare, I'll go over it again for you, Taylor, but 24 hours, you're not going to touch your eyebrows. Try not to get them wet. Try to sleep on your back and not on your face or your side. In the morning when you wake up, you'll probably have to brush them into place, but you can kind of play around with that and like how you like to style them. But you have spoolies in here for that. 24 hours, you can wash them normally. Whenever you get out of the shower or like in the morning when you wake up, you always want to brush them into place, kind of in that like up and over style there, just because the more you have them brushed like that, the more they'll like remember to stay that way. If you always have them brushed down or like just kind of brushed crazy, they're going to want to stay that way. So always keep them brushed in place. After 24 hours, every night, you're just going to use one of these 2 products. This is like a cream. It's like Olaplex, a hair conditioner. And if you notice that you like how your hair feels the next morning, one versus the other, then you can just continue to use just that. As long as there's something in your hair every night, then you're okay. Okay, I'm gonna sit her up. Hold on. My girl's been laying down. She's tired. She got a blankie. Look, she got a blankie. Okay, hold on, Killer. Sorry. Wait, how do I here? How do I turn this around? She's gonna help me. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Oh, another thing too is I usually will have the client like sit up also and look in a faraway mirror. That is a huge game changer there too, because sometimes like when you're looking, laying upside, I'm gonna my pimple, laying upside down and looking at yourself from close up, it makes it scarier. But if you have them look like from far away and like, you know, they can like regulate their brain. It looks like, but you feel crazy? No. You could say yes. No, they're just dark. Yeah. But you saw the difference when I put the conditioner on before and after. It's like that's why I always do that, is show them before the conditioner goes on, because this just kind of like heightens the color by like 3 times. So 24 hours, don't get them wet. 48 hours.
This I put on before. Wait, I already forgot. I'll write it down.
You can always text me too.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I'll text it to you. Don't worry.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions for Jackie? Any compliments for Jackie? Like I said in the very beginning, I took lamination programs before I reached out to Jackie because I am her friend and I felt bad bothering her. But then when she helped me and gave me tips and directed me towards her training, genuinely everything changed. I felt so comfortable doing them. I think there's always something really nice about learning from a peer versus learning from like a brand. And so I was really excited to have Jackie say yes to this opportunity and to give you guys little like tips and tricks that aren't on like a brand's like protocol list, because there are different ways to flex different things and make it look a certain way depending on how you do things. And so let me see if there's any more questions. How long does it normally take you to laminate, wax, and tint if you aren't teaching? It was 1 hour, right?
1 hour, like on the dot. The other day, someone came late. I did it in 45 minutes.
Wow. Okay, so you guys have a ton of links to go through. Jackie is Browyoncé on social media. You also have her website. We are Enso Wax on social. We are happy to answer any further questions that you have. And when the client sits up, does the brows? Yes. So I'll answer this question because this is so common. But yeah, when clients stand up, sometimes if their brows are leaning a certain way, I always remind them that we as humans have dominant muscles, and mostly 99.9% of the time, it's a natural thing for you to look at yourself and give yourself like a muscle tap. And so I always direct them to that and let them know that it's most likely the way they're doing it, and they just don't ever realize that. And so have them.
If you even have to tell your client, don't even, if it's someone that you know is like a little bit crazy, you know, we have those, don't even give them a mirror. Don't even give them the option to look at themselves. Just send them out the door and say, call me in 2 days.
For sure. You guys are going to get this recording a couple hours after class, and then you guys will also get information. We'll try to drop as much information as we can. If we can't get it all into the characters that it allows us to do on that post send out, we do have all of your emails, and it's going to come from us just to you guys, which is going to have all that information as well. So look out for either a Calendly email or our personal email, which will make sure the subject line is very clear that this is just for you guys. Like I said, again, you do have that code webinar 15. Please keep it to yourself. That's all that I ask. That was your money earned and spent. So please don't let everybody else get it for free. Jackie, you did so amazing. Thank you guys so much. And hopefully we'll see you guys for the next one in class. We'll also be at IECSC Las Vegas next week. So if you guys are there, please come and say hi. And I will forever just be so grateful for the opportunity to be a vehicle to get people like Jackie on board.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm not really good with my words, but I love you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.